Top 10 countries with the highest public debt compared to the size of their economies in 2025. The country at number 1 will shock you. Global debt crisis quietly building behind the headlines. Every nation borrows, but some have crossed lines that economists once said were impossible. So today, we trace the journey of the 10 most heavily indebted countries and how they reached this point. At number 10 is Mozambique. With 131%, this crosses the country's economic strength at 100%. Years of instability and slow growth pushed debt higher than the nation's entire economy. At number 9 is Maldives, with 132%. A tourism-dependent country still recovering from global shocks, financing more than it earns. At number 8 is Italy, with 137%. A major European economy weighed down by decades of accumulated public spending and weak growth. At number 7 is Bahrain, with 143%, struggling to balance life after declining oil revenue, forcing the government to borrow heavily. At number 6 is Greece, with 147%, still living in the shadow of the 2010 debt crisis, unable to fully escape its financial past. At number 5 is Lebanon, with 164%. A collapsed banking system and unstable governance pushed this nation into one of the world's worst financial breakdowns. At number 4 is Venezuela, with 164%. Economic collapse and hyperinflation transformed government borrowing into a long-term crisis. At number 3 is Singapore, with 176%, a strategic financial hub with high debt on paper, but taken on deliberately to develop infrastructure and manage reserves. At number 2 is Japan, with 230%. For decades, Japan has lived with one of the highest debt levels on Earth, supported mostly by domestic lenders. Before I reveal number 1, drop your country's flag in the comments so we can see where your nation stands in the global debt rankings. And now, the country with the highest debt-to-GDP ratio in the world. At number 1 is Sudan with a percentage of 252, a nation overwhelmed by conflict, inflation, and financial collapse. Its debt burden is now so high that recovery could take generations. For more clear and fast financial breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss what's coming next.